My name is Emily. I'm 28 years old, and until one Friday night, I genuinely believed I was in a healthy, honest relationship. I'd been dating Daniel Wright for just over 2 years. We met at a mutual friend's housewarming party, one of those accidental meetings where conversation flows effortlessly, laughter feels natural, and you leave thinking, oh, this one feels different. Daniel was thoughtful, reliable, the kind of man who remembered my coffee order and checked in before big meetings. We talked about the future casually but often, nothing rushed, nothing forced, just steady, mutual trust. And yes, trust mattered to me. I've never believed that suspicion is a sign of intelligence. I believe in giving people the benefit of the doubt until they prove they don't deserve it. Apparently, Daniel thought that made me stupid. The night everything changed was supposed to be simple. Dinner, a new Thai restaurant downtown, reservation at 7 o'clock. I arrived early, 6:40, texted him that I'd gotten us a table by the window. He replied that he was running about 15 minutes late. I smiled, ordered water, and decided to use the restroom. The restaurant had a narrow hallway leading back, passing a small private dining area separated by a decorative half wall. As I walked by, I heard a voice that made me stop cold. Daniel's. Not muffled, not distant, clear, casual, comfortable. I slowed without thinking. He was sitting in the private area with Mike, one of his longtime friends. They couldn't see me, but through the patterned cutouts in the wall, I could see them clearly. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but then Mike said something that made my stomach drop. I mean, Emily's great and all, Mike said, lowering his voice. But don't you feel even a little guilty about Olivia? Olivia, the woman from Daniel's gym. The one he'd mentioned twice, maybe 3 times, always casually, always irrelevant. Daniel laughed. Not nervously, not defensively. He laughed like someone who felt completely safe. Guilty? He said. Why would I feel guilty? Mike hesitated. Because you're cheating? Daniel leaned back in his chair, completely relaxed. Emily's too trusting to ever suspect anything, he said, smirking. I could cheat right in front of her and she'd still believe me. Mike laughed. I felt like the air had been knocked out of my lungs. That's kind of messed up, Mike said, still amused. But convenient, I guess. Exactly, Daniel replied. Emily's stable, reliable. She's got her life together. Olivia's exciting. Why would I choose when I don't have to? What if Emily finds out? Daniel didn't even pause. She won't. Trust me. She thinks the best of everyone. It's honestly kind of sad how easy it is. I stood there for 10 seconds, maybe less. Long enough for my heart to shatter quietly, without drama, without sound. Then I turned around and walked back toward the entrance. I texted Daniel that I wasn't feeling well and needed to cancel dinner. I left before he could see me. Sitting in my car, hands tight around the steering wheel, I didn't cry. I planned, because anger is loud. And silence? Silence lets you hear everything. Daniel called me at 8:32 p.m. I remember the exact time because I stared at my phone for a full 30 seconds before answering, letting my breathing settle into something believable. Hey, he said, concern woven perfectly into his voice. Are you okay? You disappeared tonight. I leaned back against my couch, staring at the blank TV screen. Yeah, I think something I ate earlier didn't sit right. I didn't want to ruin dinner. Oh no, he said immediately. You should have told me. I would have come over. The irony almost made me laugh. I just wanted to sleep it off, I replied. My voice sounded calm, normal, the same voice he'd trusted for 2 years. He apologized for being late, told me we'd reschedule, asked if I needed anything, told me to rest. Then he said it. I love you. I said it back, and it felt like swallowing broken glass. After we hung up, I sat there in the quiet of my apartment, replaying his words from the restaurant in my head. Too trusting, too easy. I didn't cry that night. I opened my laptop. I've never been the jealous type. I'd never gone through a partner's phone, never stalked social media, never checked timestamps or locations. Until that night. I started with Daniel's Instagram. Nothing obvious at first glance. Gym selfies, work events, casual captions. But once you start looking critically, patterns emerge. Olivia appeared more than I remembered. Always just out of frame, always tagged by someone else, always commented with something that could pass as friendly, but lingered too long. Emojis, inside jokes, replies within minutes. Then there were the check-ins. Bars he'd told me he went to with coworkers. Restaurants he'd said were last-minute dinners. Nights he'd texted me goodnight early because he was exhausted. Olivia was tagged in the same places. Same nights, same times. My stomach stayed strangely calm as I took screenshots. Timestamps, usernames, cross-referenced dates. By midnight, I had a folder on my desktop labeled simply Friday. Around 1 a.m., I closed the laptop and stared at the ceiling. The smart thing, the emotional thing, would have been to confront him immediately, demand explanations, watch him scramble for lies. But that's what he expected from someone naive. I wasn't naive. I was patient. The next morning, Daniel texted me good morning, like nothing had happened. How are you feeling today? Still sick? I can bring you soup later. I replied with short, affectionate messages, thanked him, told him I was better, said maybe we could see each other later in the weekend. And just like that, the lie continued. On Monday morning, I met Linda Chen. Her office was small, clean, and efficient. Exactly what I needed. She didn't waste time on sympathy or theatrics. How long do you think this has been going on? She asked, pen poised over her notebook. I don't know, I said honestly, but I want to. She nodded. Do you want proof or do you want closure? I want proof, I said, irrefutable. Linda explained the process calmly. Surveillance, documentation, photos, videos, timelines. She warned me that once I saw everything, I couldn't unsee it. I understand, I said. She quoted the price. I agreed without hesitation. That weekend was the hardest part. Saturday morning, Daniel picked me up for brunch like always. He kissed my cheek, asked how I was feeling, told me I looked pretty. I smiled, ate my pancakes, listened to him talk about work. Every word he said landed differently now. Every laugh felt rehearsed. Every touch felt borrowed. At the farmer's market, he held my hand while complimenting tomatoes, while somewhere, maybe days earlier, he'd held Olivia's waist instead. That night, we watched a movie at his place. I curled against him on the couch, his arm warm around my shoulders. He absent-mindedly played with my hair. And I thought about him calling me sad for trusting him. I didn't pull away. I memorized everything, because I knew it wouldn't last. Linda started sending updates midweek. Photos first. Daniel and Olivia entering a hotel together. Daniel kissing her in a parking garage. Daniel laughing, relaxed, unguarded. Then videos. Short clips. Enough to erase any remaining doubt. And finally, the detail that changed everything. Emily, Linda said during our call, her tone careful. Olivia believes Daniel is single. I closed my eyes. So he didn't just cheat, I said quietly. He lied to both of us. Yes. Something settled inside me then. Not rage, not sadness. Clarity. By Friday, I had everything. A full timeline. 3 months of deception. Evidence Daniel never thought I'd have. I didn't sleep much that night. I wasn't nervous. I was ready. Because the thing about trust is this. When someone mistakes it for stupidity, they never see the reckoning coming. By the time Linda sent the final file, I already knew what it would contain. Still, my hands shook when I opened it. There's a difference between suspecting betrayal and seeing it laid out with clinical precision. Dates, times, locations. Proof so thorough, it erased even the possibility of denial. 3 months. That's how long Daniel had been living a second life. The report started simply. Gym visits that overlapped too neatly, late nights that matched hotel reservations. But then it deepened. Patterns emerged. Fridays with me, Saturdays with her. Sundays rotated depending on convenience. Linda had even mapped emotional rhythms. Text frequency, response delays, the subtle shift from novelty to routine. This isn't impulsive, she said during our final meeting. This is maintained. Maintained. Like a habit, like a system. I stared at a photo of Daniel laughing with Olivia outside a cafe. The same laugh he used with me. Same ease. Same intimacy. She really thinks he's single? I asked again, even though I already knew the answer. Yes, Linda said. No evidence she knows about you. And one more thing. She slid another page toward me. Olivia had a boyfriend. His name was Ethan. They'd been together almost a year. The room went very quiet. So he wasn't just cheating, I said slowly. He was dismantling multiple lives at once. Linda nodded. People like that usually assume no one will compare notes. I left her office feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Not because it was over, because I was in control now. That night, Daniel texted me. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I replied with a heart emoji. I spent the evening planning, not emotionally, but logistically. Where, when, who would be present. I didn't want yelling. I didn't want chaos. I wanted clarity so sharp it would leave a mark. Sunday morning, I sent 2 messages. To Daniel, can you come over around 10? We need to talk. To Olivia, hi, this is Emily. We need to talk about Daniel. I think we've both been lied to. She replied within minutes. Who are you? What do you mean lied to? I sent 1 photo. Daniel kissing me on my birthday. Typing bubble. Gone. Typing bubble again. He said he was single. I took a deep breath. I know. I gave her my address. At 9:58 a.m., Daniel arrived first. He looked relaxed, smiling, confident. He leaned in to kiss me and stopped when he saw my expression. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Sit," I said. He frowned but obeyed. At exactly 10:02, there was a knock at the door. Daniel turned, confused. I opened it. Olivia stood there, arms crossed, face pale. The room cracked open. "Why is she here?" Daniel demanded, standing up. I closed the door gently. "You wanted to cheat in front of me," I said calmly. "So here we are." Olivia's eyes flicked between us. "You told me you were single." Daniel's mouth opened, closed, opened again. "Emily, this isn't—" "Stop," I said. I handed Olivia a folder. Photos, dates, screenshots. Her hands trembled as she flipped through them. "You told me she was just a coworker," she whispered. Daniel looked at me then, really looked at me, for the first time since the restaurant. "You set this up," he said, disbelief bleeding into panic. "I listened," I corrected. "You did the rest yourself." He reached for me. I stepped back. "You don't get to touch me." Olivia was crying now, quietly, controlled. "There's something else you should know," I said gently, turning to her. "Ethan exists." Her head snapped up. "You told me you broke up with him," Daniel said weakly. "I told you I was thinking about it," Olivia shot back. I handed her another envelope. "Linda gave you a grace period," I said. "You have 24 hours to tell him yourself. After that, I will." Olivia didn't hesitate. She walked out. Daniel collapsed onto the couch like the air had been knocked out of him. "This was a mistake," he said hoarsely. "It didn't mean anything." 3 months doesn't happen by accident, I said. "That's a choice." Repeatedly. He started crying. I didn't. "You didn't just cheat," I said. "You mocked me for trusting you. That's what ended this." "I love you," he whispered. "You love the version of me you could lie to," I replied. "Not the real one." I grabbed my keys. "Pack up whatever you left here," I said. "I'll give it to your building manager." "Emily, please." I paused at the door. "I just wanted you to know," I said softly, "that I was never naive. I just believed you deserved honesty." Then I left. The first call came before I'd even reached the end of the block. I didn't answer it. By the time I pulled onto the main road, my phone was already vibrating again, Daniel's name flashing insistently across the screen like it had some right to my attention. It didn't. I drove home, parked, and sat in my car for a moment longer than necessary, letting the silence settle. The confrontation had gone exactly how I'd planned. Controlled, contained, devastating in its quietness. That was the part Daniel hadn't anticipated. Most people imagine betrayal ends with screaming, tears, plates shattering, someone storming out. But the most damaging endings are calm, because calm leaves no room for denial. By noon, Daniel had called 12 times, left 5 voicemails. His messages swung wildly in tone. Confused, apologetic, defensive, desperate. "Please talk to me. You blindsided me. This isn't fair. I never meant to hurt you." I blocked his number after the 15th message. Mutual friends started reaching out next. Carefully worded check-ins at first. "Hey, are you okay? Daniel says there was a misunderstanding." I shut that down quickly. "There was no misunderstanding," I told them. "He cheated. I found out. We're done." Most of them accepted that. A few tried the familiar refrain. Everyone makes mistakes. Relationships take work. Don't throw everything away. I reminded them that forgiveness is optional, not obligatory. That afternoon, Mike called. "You didn't have to humiliate him like that," he said without preamble. I almost laughed. "Humiliate?" I repeated. "He cheated on me for 3 months and mocked my trust. I simply let the truth exist in the same room as him." Mike sighed. "He's not okay, Emily." That stopped being my responsibility when he decided lying was easier than honesty. Mike hung up. I felt nothing. Sunday evening, my phone buzzed with a message from an unfamiliar number. "This is Olivia." I stared at the screen for a long moment before replying. "Okay. I told Ethan," she wrote. "He left." "I didn't know about you. I swear." "I believe you," I replied. There was a pause. "I'm sorry." "Me too," I typed. And I meant it. For both of us. In different ways. The next 2 weeks passed in a strange, weightless blur. Daniel tried everything. Emails. New numbers. Showing up at my building until my doorman stopped letting him in. He sent flowers. Letters. Long, rambling messages about therapy and self-sabotage and fear of commitment. I read none of them. Peace is fragile when you're rebuilding it. I wasn't going to let his regret trample mine. 2 weeks after the confrontation, I ran into him at the grocery store. I almost didn't recognize him. Daniel had lost weight. His hair looked unwashed. Dark circles framed his eyes like bruises. He froze when he saw me, standing in the produce aisle, holding a basket of apples. "Emily," he said quietly. I nodded politely and turned back to my list. He followed me. "Please," he said, "just 5 minutes." "There's nothing to talk about," I replied, not unkindly. "I've been in therapy," he said quickly, trying to understand why I did what I did. "That's good," I said. "I hope it helps." "It could help us," he insisted. I stopped walking. Slowly, I turned to face him. 2 weeks ago, I said, I would have seen the man I loved. Today, I just see someone who thought I was too stupid to notice he was lying to me. His face crumpled. "I was wrong," he whispered. "I know," I said. "That's why this is over." "Don't you miss me at all?" I looked at him, really looked. "No," I said honestly. "I miss the person I thought you were, but that person never existed." "That's not fair," he said, tears spilling now. "Life isn't fair, Daniel," I replied calmly. "You taught me that." I paid for my groceries and left. That was the last time I spoke to him. It's strange how quiet life becomes after a storm you didn't realize you were bracing for. The first few nights after the grocery store encounter, I expected something. Anger, grief, regret, to surge up unexpectedly. Instead, there was just space, not emptiness. Space, the kind you don't notice until it's finally yours. Daniel didn't try to contact me again after that day. Maybe seeing me calm, untouched by his unraveling, did more damage than any argument ever could. Or maybe therapy had finally taught him the one lesson he'd avoided for years, that consequences don't disappear just because you understand them. I heard updates through mutual friends, whether I wanted to or not. Daniel had taken a leave from work. He'd moved out of his apartment. He talked openly about losing the best thing that ever happened to him. Some people said it with sympathy, others with exhaustion. I didn't correct them. Olivia and Ethan didn't survive either. That relationship ended the night she told him the truth. She tried reaching out once more, just a short message wishing me well. I wished her the same. Pain doesn't bond people automatically. Sometimes all it does is teach you what you'll never tolerate again. 2 months passed. My apartment felt different now. Quieter, lighter. I rearranged furniture, bought new sheets, took up evening walks just to feel the air change as the sun went down. I started therapy too. Not because I was broken, but because I wanted to understand why I'd stayed calm instead of exploding. My therapist asked if the confrontation had been about closure or control. Both, I admitted, but mostly dignity. She nodded. "You didn't try to punish him. You let him see himself clearly." That felt right. One afternoon, Linda called me. "I just wanted to check in," she said. "Make sure you're doing okay." We met for coffee a few days later. She told me she'd handled hundreds of cheating cases, but very few ended the way mine did. "Most people want revenge," she said. "You wanted recognition." I wanted him to understand that I wasn't stupid, I replied, just trusting. She smiled. "That's a dangerous thing to underestimate." Sometimes, late at night, I think about the moment in the restaurant hallway, the exact second my life split in two, before and after. Before, I believed trust was something you protected at all costs. After, I learned it's something you offer once and withdraw without apology when it's abused. Do I regret how I handled it? Maybe parts of it were harsh. Maybe confronting everyone at once was unnecessary. But here's the truth I've learned to live with. Daniel thought my trust made me weak. He thought my patience made me blind. He thought my kindness meant I wouldn't notice. I wanted his final memory of me to be the moment he realized he was wrong. Some people think I was too forgiving for not screaming. Others think I was too cold for orchestrating the truth so precisely. I think I was exactly who I needed to be. I'm not bitter. That surprised me most. I'm relieved. Relieved I found out when I did. Relieved I didn't waste more years on someone who treated trust like a flaw instead of a gift. Relieved I listened to my instincts instead of silencing them for the sake of comfort. Daniel was right about one thing. I did trust him completely. Right up until the moment he proved he didn't deserve it. That isn't naivety. That's decency. And he failed that test spectacularly.